America, have you ever played a game with your kids and had them teach you how to play the game? Sometimes, I love it, they play by the rules, like when they're winning, and sometimes they don't, like when you're winning. I guess children must be running the Democratic race for presidential nomination, since neither Clinton nor Obama can mathematically win enough delegates to secure the nomination. Some now, both of them, are throwing a tantrum, and they're trying to change the game one way or another. One is saying, oh, geez, we should hold new primaries in Florida and Michigan. You know what? Here's the point tonight. Actions do have consequences, and personal responsibility shouldn't be, but it's all but dead in America. And here's how I got there. Can't pay your mortgage because you bought more house than you could afford? Have the government bail you out. It's just that easy. Don't have enough delegates to win the nomination? Why not call for new elections? America, we cannot treat our republic like a game of schoolyard kickball and start calling for a do-over. This is why we're all feeling so disenfranchised in this country. You work hard. You bust your butt to pay your bills and pay them on time. Support your family. You do the best job you can to raise your kids with respect for God and country and to treat other people with respect. You know the difference between right and wrong. No wonder everybody in this country is just so pissed off right now. It used to be we could expect those kinds of values from our leaders. Well, they ain't making presidential candidates like they used to. So tonight, here's what you need to know. One of the real hallmarks in our republic is that it is governed, try this out for size, by a set of rules. Rules that make the process equally fair to everybody. This isn't Venezuela. When did we become Russia? Where we just make up the rules as we go along to prop up whatever leader has the most power and influence. Not here. We hold our system to a higher standard, and we need to. We can't allow opportunistic politicians to dishonor us and our system with their petty and self-serving greed. Here's the truth. The Democratic parties in both Michigan and Florida knew that they would be stripped of their delegates if they moved their primary dates, and they did it anyway. DNC Chairman Howard Dean, the two of us, we never agreed on anything. But listen to this.
The rules were set a year and a half ago. Florida and Michigan voted for them, then decided that they didn't need to abide by the rules. Well, when you're in a contest, you do need to abide by the rules. Everybody has to play by the rules out of respect for both campaigns and the other 48 states.
I've slipped into a parallel universe. I agree with him. And it's funny, in today's day and age, a word like respect almost seems old-timey, doesn't it? Ellen Kmark, she is the member of the Rules Committee for the DNC, professor at Kennedy School of Government at Harvard University. Elaine, rules are rules, right? I mean,
that's right.
Don't we have to? Don't you disenfranchise more people if you change the rules now?
Nobody's thinking of changing the rules now. I mean, there was a process more than a year and a half ago, as Chairman Dean said, where we considered some other states to come early in the process. We had a very open process. Everybody was on notice. The party chose Nevada and South Carolina to be early. I wasn't in favor of Nevada. I thought Arizona was a better state to go early, but the votes were for Nevada.
Why were they even changed in the first place? Why move any of them up?
Well, because there was a movement in the party as we were setting the rules. Every 4 years we set the rules well in advance of the primaries. There was a movement to add 2 states to Iowa and New Hampshire to give the party some demographic and some regional diversity. That was the reason. So states applied, some won, some lost. All 48 states, with the exception of Michigan and Florida, played by the rules and had their primaries or caucuses later in the contest, and that's why Florida and Michigan were stripped of their delegates.
Okay, so are you telling me now that Florida and Michigan will not be counted? That nothing's going to be done. It's not going to change.
Well, right now they will not be counted, and this number that you see, the magic number of 2025, which is a majority of the convention, does not count Florida and Michigan delegates in them. Now, there has been a provision in the rules, it's been in the rules for 25 years, that if a state wants to come in and submit a delegate selection plan that is at odds with their state law, they can come to the Democratic Party and they can approve that plan. So theoretically, Florida and Michigan could come back to the DNC, come back to the Rules Committee, submit a plan that is in line with the party rules, and have a alternate contest. But it would not be an alternate
May I
contest.
suggest something to both parties? How about we just let people vote? And then we just take their votes and we count them up. And at the end of the night, whoever has the most votes wins.
Well,
idea?
that's obviously a simple way, but you know, a long time ago, that's obviously simple, but a long time ago we started out having party conventions, and we now have this mixed system where we have some primaries, some caucuses, and we end up in a convention. And obviously look, it's kind of like the Electoral College situation. You know, nobody thinks the Electoral College makes sense anymore either, but we have it for historic reasons, and it's the same reason with party conventions.
It's in the Constitution. I mean, I look at what happened in Texas, and I think to myself, which party, and don't believe me, I'm not on a GOP bandwagon, but which party understands smaller government and easier, get the machinery out of the way of the people? In Texas, you had to go and vote and then come back later to do a caucus. It's insanity. Just let people vote.
Well, that is obviously a very popular sentiment, but you know, like a lot of things in American politics, there's a lot of tradition and history which gets us to the place where we are.
All right, Elaine, thanks very much. I appreciate it. Thanks for coming on the program. We got the problem. Now, are there any reasonable solutions? My next guest is 5. His name is Roger Simon. He's the chief political columnist for Politico. You know, there's a lot of reasons historically we're doing this way, even though it doesn't work and it stinks on ice. Let me just run down the 5, and I've only got a couple of minutes here with you, but let's run down the 5 that you've written here. First of all, it's the heck with them option, which I'm for. Explain.
That's just leave it as it is. Both states are rogue states. They broke the rules. The heck with them. We're not going to seat them. Forget about them.
Okay. Doesn't that disenfranchise everybody who went out and voted?
Yes, but they had been warned in advance, and you can't underestimate here the pugnacity of Michigan and Florida in doing what they did. They were warned not to do it. They were told what would happen if they did do it. They did it anyway.
Okay. This would be the progressive. This would be the one. This is the one I would think liberals would like because it would make everybody feel better. The kumbaya option. What's that?
The kumbaya option is, hey, let's seat Florida the way they voted. Let's join hands. Let's not have a big fight. Let's just do it and get it over with.
I mean, why do they hate Florida and Michigan so much, those hate mongers? The split the baby option, which is ridiculous.
Split the baby, give half the delegates to Hillary, half the delegates to Obama. The only rationale for that is if you buy into the notion that voters in Florida and Michigan actually would be insulted by not being seated at the convention, this is a way of getting a couple of hundred people to have a good time in Denver, and they can go and party there.
But you're not even representing. I hate politics. The Mulligan option.
Mulligan option, do it all over. Hold a new primary in Florida, maybe a new caucus instead of a primary in Michigan. The problem with that is it's hugely expensive. It might cost $25 billion in Florida. Howard Dean says he's not going to pay for it. The Florida party says they're not going to pay for it. So who is going to pay for it?
Why don't we just get the people who couldn't pay their mortgages? While we're bailing them out, let's just use some of that money that we're borrowing from China to do that as well. And the final one is the Lone Ranger option. I actually read an editorial today that said this one might be Al Gore. He's the savior.
You know, everyone says that about Al Gore, and Al Gore did win the Nobel Prize, but he would have to win the Nobel Peace Prize to solve this one. Sort of.
And a Grammy.
You got to keep in mind, though, Al Gore is not the most popular figure in the Democratic Party. A lot of Democrats think he should have won in 2000 and blew the election. So I'm not sure he has that much clout.
You know what? I said that on the radio today. We were talking about it. And I said, when did Al Gore? Because in this, he was described as so smart and so. And I said, when is it that he was? Did you forget how much you hated him because he lost to Curious George? I mean,
he lost his home state. He lost Arkansas. He lost West Virginia. He may not really be the Lone Ranger figure who can pull this off, but I'm not sure Howard Dean is either.
No. Thanks, Roger.